Hey, it's Warren Sprouse. You're on the Bible Forum. We do this every Sunday night, whether you're here or not. But we'd love for you to join us Sunday night, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern, looking at life through a biblical lens and generally solving all the world's problems in 2 hours or less. You can join in on the chat room. You can talk to the folks there and can ask questions. You can also call our hotline. It's not really a hotline. Our phone line, and leave a message on whatever subject you want to discuss. Do you know what's really going on in America? 6.8 million of the 11 million illegal aliens in America live in 20 U.S. cities. That's 61% of all illegals. These cities represent 36% of the total population of the country. According to a new report by the Pew Research Center, the indication is that these 6.8 million illegal immigrants are being, I don't want to say forced in any way, but are being sent to cities that have their arms open. They also are sent to cities who get paid for taking them. The Washington Examiner reports that all but 3 of these cities are what are called sanctuary cities, or cities where where policies exist that shelter illegal immigrants. According to the Center for Immigration Studies, the only cities on the list that do not qualify as sanctuary cities are Orlando, Phoenix, and Houston. The other 17 cities on the list would be impacted by President Trump's executive order that limits federal aid to cities that do not comply with immigration orders. I read this week that there is at least one city, there are probably going to be more, who realized their money would be cut off if they were a sanctuary city, and they have said, we're not doing that anymore. And that's the point. You don't want to cut money off. You just want to stop the nonsense. 11 million illegal immigrants in the United States. 61% of them in 20 cities. Mayors in some of the cities on the list have already indicated that they're not going to abide by the president's order on sanctuary cities. Now, as I've mentioned before, it's about the money and it's about votes. Over $2,000 of federal money follows that illegal immigrant. Along with that comes the political demographic. U.S. representatives are apportioned based on population, legal or otherwise. So it is in the liberal left's interest to have as many representatives in Congress as possible. In some cases, these illegals actually create new congressional districts, not geographically, but numerically, giving rise to a change in district boundaries and the consequent addition of representatives. The Democrats believe they have the advantage at the polls. That didn't work out too well for them this past time. They did have more votes, but they lost big time. They play the odds with all of this. When an anti-American values president and party is in power, they win. When a pro-American values president and party is in power, they lose. And so they like to stack the deck in favor of themselves. The indication today is that it's not working too well, because all this does is bankrupt the community. In the long run, what we're focusing on here is bringing in people who do not bring with them skills and abilities that will move the society forward. These are needy people, people who have nothing. Many of them cannot read or write. They don't have skills. They just are there, and now you have to take care of them. That all of this is actually stacking the deck, as it were, makes no difference. These people who are leaders in these states and cities are acting every bit as if they are immoral. They don't care of what this is doing to the total city, the total state, or to the total population. They just want everybody to bow to their wishes. They just want to get elected. That's what we've been doing for the last 8 years. And look at the statistic, and it'll show you what's been happening and prove the whole point. With Trump, there seems to be a resurgence of American spirit, largely present every time we rid ourselves of a liberal president. There's an energy that lifts the boat. This one, no doubt, will follow the same pattern. People rejoicing in the new liberties, a resurgence of business and investing, a joy at the return of basic biblical and American values. But sadly, we get used to that. We take it for granted, and it doesn't take us very long to return to the next liberal that makes his or her case to a population that has largely been lulled to sleep by the prosperity and by the peace. The Trump election has isolated liberalism to about 6 states. Their power base is diluted, and they are scratching at anything they believe will preserve their existence. That's what happened to Mike Flynn, and it will continue throughout the Trump administration. Investigators believe there's a left-wing cabal in the government that's working hard to undermine anything Trump wants or even dreams about. They call it the deep state. Career government employees who work covertly to control what elected officials know or can know. They are, in their own mind, the real government. Folks who were here when Trump came and will be here when he's gone. On Tuesday night this past week, on the 14th of February, Fox News' Bret Baier put it plainly. The anti-Flynn material, quote, came from someone in the Obama administration. Then Baier interviewed Representative David Nunes, Republican, California, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, who said that there was obviously an orchestrated plan against the Trump administration from within the government. He says, I've never seen anything like it. If you look at the fact that an American was having a conversation and it was leaked to the press, if the shoe were on the other foot and this were the Democrats in the House and the Senate would be going crazy. Leaks are not new. Unflattering details of the president's conversations with leaders of Australia, Mexico, and Russia have been spilling out for weeks. On February 10th, there was a headline in Politico, quote, CIA freezes out top Flynn aide. The agency denied a security clearance for a key aide to the National Security Advisor, ratcheting up tensions between Flynn and the intel community. The question becomes, how does Politico know this? How did Politico come to know that the CIA had refused a security clearance to one Robin Townley, whom Flynn had chosen to run the Africa desk at the NSC? By what legal process was Townley not only rejected but then smeared in the media? White House Press Secretary Sean Spicer said at this briefing on Tuesday, there's an issue of classified information, people entrusted with classified information who are leaking it out. That, he said, is the big story. One longtime Beltway observer said, quote, "Welcome to day one of what is arguably the biggest presidential scandal involving a foreign government since Iran-Contra. Hunker down because this is a Class 5 political hurricane that's hitting Washington." Now, this is all part of the great battle for truth, a battle being orchestrated by the father of lies. To what end? Confusion, distrust, smokescreen, and the corruption, or at least the mitigation, of our way of life as Americans. We are the problem for a prince of evil who wants to and needs to control human hearts for his own purposes. Individually, God-fearing Americans will not go along with overt sin, evil in high places, and the destruction of our way of life. Now, corporately, it'd be much easier just to control everything. Today, the liberal Democrats are in the decided minority, representing about a third of the population. But they sound and look larger because they control the media and the entertainment community and the education system. But they are decidedly in the voting minority, even as they have the bully pulpit. I mentioned in a previous video the fact that we have people, private citizens, whose telephone conversations have apparently been tapped by our government. That's a violation of law. People go to jail for that. And there is an investigation to see if they can find out who did that and where and why. It ain't over. But you're looking at not just sore losers. You're looking at people who see their way of life, their philosophy of life, their goals going down in flames. If Donald Trump is successful and keeps up this frenetic pace for the next 8 years, your children and grandchildren will not recognize the country they live in. My opinion, I don't think he can do it. I think they'll take him out. I don't mean they'll kill him, but they'll find a way to mitigate all of this and stop it. It's bigger than the United States, and it's certainly bigger than one man.